We can go on to Aegon the Fourth. So that's quite a meaty chapter.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Half of it's his mistresses, anyway.
Yeah, essentially. It's actually shorter than Daeron II if you just take text about him. But it's longer because of the mentioning of all of his mistresses. So, but yeah. Aegon the Fourth. He reigned from 172 to 184. Could that be right? Yeah, it's right. And he's known as Aegon the Unworthy. His father was, of course, Viserys Targaryen. Henry VIII, Aegon the Fourth, may go down in history as the most ruinous king of all time, maybe only rivaled by the later Aerys the Mad. The eldest son of Viserys II, he was, in his youth, a strapping young prince with a renowned wit, but a voracious appetite for food and women alike. The latter, combined with a spiteful nature, proved to be the catalyst to the second most disastrous civil war in Targaryen history. By command of their father at the time, the Hand Viserys, Aegon married his frail sister in 153, and she bore him a son named Daeron later that year. Their marriage wasn't a loving one, but even though she begged him not to, he kept on banging her at the strain of her health. After a series of miscarriages and stillbirths, she managed to carry a daughter to term named Daenerys, but years later then died while giving birth to stillborn twins. It is said that her only love were her brother Daemon the Dragonknight, who reputedly loved her back. Before and after his marriage, during and after his marriage, he had affairs with several women, by his own claim over 900. Several of these women bore him bastards, most notably of which are Brynden Rivers, Daemon Blackfyre, Aeger Rivers, and Shira Seastar Rivers. Of all 900, Aegon only loved 9, none of which was his wife. Here is the list of the mistresses of Aegon. Lady Felena Stokeworth, Megget Mary Meg, Lady Casella Vaith, Belgair Otherys, Lady Barbara Bracken, Lady Melissa Blackwood, Lady Bethina Bracken, Lady Jane Lawson, and Serene of Lys. He was known to have a mercurial nature, especially to those nearest to him, from his son Daeron, whom he threatened with disownment, to his brother, whom he tormented with his unfulfilled love, to the lords and ladies in his court, whom he would give and take honors according to his whim and libido. Aegon's nature even led him to launch a half-baked attempt to start a war against Dorne, whom he was allies with, in an attempt to strip his son of his strongest support. His greatest folly, though, was his affection towards Daemon Waters, who was raised in the Red Keep with all the best teachers in arms and letters. And when this lad was 12, he was knighted by his father and awarded lands and titles, henceforth styled as Daemon Blackfyre, after the Targaryen ancestral sword, which he had also been given. His death in 184 AC would have been a merry occasion for the realm, had it not been for what he had done right before and all the trouble that followed. On his deathbed, Aegon the Unworthy, a title he had truly earned, legitimized all his natural and highborn bastards alike.
I give him 1 bowl of brown. In my opinion, he's the worst king.
1 is not enough for Aegon the Unworthy. I mean, I gave Baelor 1 bowl of brown. I don't know. I don't even know what to give Aegon the Unworthy. He is the most terrible person.
That's why I didn't give Baelor a bowl of brown, because I knew Aegon was coming up soon.
Well, that brings us to our news section. Who's the worst until now? Of all the kings we have had, like Maegor the Cruel.
Oh, Aegon.
Still Aegon the Fourth?
Yeah.
It's a close call between Maegor the Cruel and Aegon the Unworthy.
Thing is, Maegor actually was able to accomplish things, like shutting down the Faith Militant, basically.
Yeah, I guess
he was
so.
brutal and savage about it, but he at least accomplished something. Meanwhile, Aegon's like wooden dragons are being set on fire because hey, wood is flammable, and you don't want to make something a dragon when it can burn just as easily.
Yeah, we'll of course come back to it at a later point when we get up to the more present kings, but I think that's it's quite, for me there's three that really are competing for this coveted prize as the worst, and right now it's Viserys the First and Maegor the Cruel and now Aegon the Unworthy, because all of them, well, maybe it's an exception for Maegor the Cruel. He actually didn't make new problems for the realm. He actually sort of solved them in his rule, but the two others, whatever they did, had lasting consequences on several generations of Targaryens.
On the entire realm, yeah.
So of those three, I mean, I don't like the way Maegor solved his problems, but of the three, he is actually the one with the least blood in his hands, essentially.
Overall, I will say that I believe Aegon the Unworthy is the worst king, because even with all the horrible shit Aerys the Mad did, Aerys was called the Mad. All the shit that Aegon the Fourth did, he did of sound mind and sound body.
Well, as much as you can have a sound mind and sound body when you're a Targaryen.
Yeah.
I mean, he has been described as a person with a mercurial and spiteful nature. He kind of sounds like Aegon the Mad in the way he's described. So who was in charge of? Oh yeah, Hannah.
Yeah, it was me.
Okay.
Okay, so I mean, there's a lot. You summed it up really well, and a lot of my notes were covered in your summary. So what I did was I made a just big timeline of major events in his life, so we can go through that. So he's born 135 AC and a lot of it has to do with the mistresses, just by the way. Between 149 and 151, he was with Felena Stokeworth. Supposedly, that's how he lost his virginity. He was 14 years old. Their affair goes on in King's Landing until 151, but then King Aegon III has her married off to Lucas Lothstein and also makes him Lord of Harrenhal. But then Aegon pays her visits at Harrenhal for a further 2 years. That brings us up to 153 AC, where Naharis gives birth to Daeron. In 155, 2 years later, Aegon meets Mary Meg, who's a blacksmith's wife by Fair Market. And apparently he buys her off the dude for 7 gold dragons, which is amazing. And they even have a fake wedding in King's Landing, like a murmur's wedding. Viserys, who was hand of the king then, dismisses her from court 4 years later in 159. And the 4 girls that she had by Aegon become septas, or are given over to the faith. A year before this happens, there's the submission of Dorne to Daeron the First. And at the same time that Meg is dismissed from court, Daeron the First returns to King's Landing with the Dornish hostages, and that's where he meets Lady Cassella Vaith. A couple of years later, Daeron is murdered, and Lady Vaith is returned to Dorne. There's no issue from that affair. The same year, Naharis is pregnant. Shamos dies, and Baelor the First sends Aegon to Braavos under the guise of diplomacy. But by all accounts, it was a mercy the king showed, allowing her to recover without being pestered by Aegon. And that's where he meets the Black Pearl of Braavos, Beligir? Authorize. And then 161, 171, the Black Pearl affair continues for 10 years, yielding 3 children. In 171, Daemon Blackfire Waters is born. 71, Baelor dies, and Viserys II ascends to the throne. The Maiden Vault is opened, and now he begins his affair with Barba Bracken. In 172 AC, Viserys II dies. Aegon the Fourth is crowned. He names Bracken's father as Hand of the King. She gives birth. 2 weeks later, Viserys gives birth to twins. One is a male who is stillborn. The second is a female, Daenerys, who survives. Oh, she almost dies. And then the Hand talks about even starting to remarry in the hopes that she'll die, but she recovers. And it's rumored that Aemon, her brother, the Dragonknight, is really her son Darren's father. Between 170 and 75, he has an affair now with Lady Melissa Missy Blackwood. And she's friends to everyone, including Naharis, Darren, her son, and her brother, the Dragonknight. She's cited as having a 5-year, quote-unquote, reign with Aegon, and she gives birth to 3 children. Brynden Rivers, who becomes known as Bloodraven, and I think that's what I had on my last thing I was talking about. She has Aegor Rivers is from the affair with Barba Bracken. Okay, now in 177 AC, he meets Lady Bethany Bracken, who I like to call Anne Boleyn / Catherine Howard, because she's thrown into Aegon's path by her scheming father and sister while he's visiting his bastard son Aegor Rivers at Stonehenge, where he's being raised. And Aegon has declined in obesity and is pretty disgusting by then. So that's reminiscent of Catherine Howard's deal with Henry VIII. And because of this, she ends up having an affair with Terence Tone, who's a Kingsguard.
Toyne.
In 178, Aegon's actually the one that finds them in bed together, and Toyne is tortured to death. Lady Bethany and Lord Bracken are both executed, and Terence Toyne's brothers attempt to kill Aegon as an act of vengeance for his death, and his brother, the Kingsguard Knight, Sir Aemon the Dragonknight, dies successfully protecting his king and brother. There's no issue from this affair. And then we get to Jane Austen. She's 14 when she's brought to court by her mother. It doesn't expressly say who her mother is. And Aegon names Lord Austen his new hand. He ends up giving Jane VD from whores visited between her and Bethany's execution, and she's sent away from court. And then finally we get to Nee of Lys, Sweet Nee, as she's called. She was brought to court by Lord John Hightower, who was Aegon the Fourth's new hand job, literally. And she's rumored to have been a sorceress. She was of a ancient noble house in Lys, but that house had declined. She died giving birth to Shiera Star, who her bastard brothers, both Bittersteel, Aegor Rivers, and Bloodraven, both would fight over later. And so that is his timeline, basically, because she's with him until the end. We don't know the exact dates of when their affair began or stopped. And then he dies in 184. So his rule sees the long-standing Blackwood Bracken vendetta come to light, right? When he gave away the region called the Teats to the Brackens from the Blackwoods, pretty much to bang some chicks.
Yep.
Yeah.
He did that a lot. He gave Lord Butterwell a dragon's egg just so he could have access to all of his daughters.
Yeah.
It's
intense.
It was basically what he did all the time.
Yeah. As I also entered in my summary, it's according he gives and takes according to his whim and libido at the same time.
Yeah.
He literally rules his realm with his stick.
Yeah.
Should we do a yay or nay for his mistresses?
Can we do that? Yeah, sure. So first off, we can take the non-9 first. So we have already said Dana, but what was the other one? There was one before that, right?
Well, Naharis was his wife.
Yeah, Naharis.
Not Naharis.
Was
So yeah, Nerys, yay or nay?
Yay.
Yay.
Yeah, I feel sad for her. So yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so Lady Felena, Stokeworth,
Nay.
Yay.
nay.
Nay.
Yay.
Because she brings her own daughter back and it's like, let's have a
Yeah.
mom-daughter threesome with this guy.
Yeah, and she bangs him when he's 14.
Yeah.
So
Gross. She's gross.
okay. Well, I don't know. I'm not so convinced of the nay as you are, but yeah, I'll settle on a nay. Maggette or Mary Meg?
Nay.
Yay.
Nay?
Possibly yay. Do you think that when Aegon did the whole ceremony with the mummer in place of the septon, do you think she possibly thought that this was real? Like Aegon obviously.
I'm betting she thought it was real.
Yeah, so that is so sad. I mean, she thought she was marrying him, and then eventually she was forced back to her husband, who eventually killed her.
Yeah.
That's just horrible. I'm gonna say yay because she had a horrible life.
Yeah, I'm also backing her because she did the best she could with her situation.
Yeah, I mean, she didn't have any. It wasn't her choice to go with the king. I mean, the king decided that he was going to buy her, and her husband decided to sell her. So it wasn't like she had any choice in any of this.
Well, it says that he bought her for 7 gold dragons and the threat of Sir Joffrey Staunton of the Kingsguard. So
Yeah.
he kidnapped
and then
her.
her original husband
Yeah,
wasn't
basically.
too happy about it. And if she's called Mary Meg, and everyone found that she was kind of happy being around Aegon, I don't know.
Well, I mean, obviously, once you give a person clothes and jewels, and if somebody likes that, like, yeah, she was possibly happy, but that doesn't change the fact that she thought that she was married to this guy when she wasn't. Like, that's, it was just.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not.
disgusting.
I'm also going on the yay side on this one. I'm uncharacteristically siding a lot with Nadia on this one.
Oh
So
my god, that never happens.
yeah. So Lady Casella Vaith probably. Casella Vaith.
I'm gonna say yay, because she's Mad Lady Vaith that Duncan and Egg encounter in Dorne, which I'm kind of sad we'll never know what happened with them. We just get remembrances of, hey, remember Mad Lady Vaith? Oh yeah, she was crazy.
She was the mad. She was the mad lady. Is that confirmed?
Well, it's a theory that everyone, it's not like confirmed, but it's the general consensus.
Oh, okay.
Because it then says, Casella never wed, and in her old age, she was consumed by the delusion that she had been Aegon's one true love.
Yeah.
That he would soon send for her.
That makes sense. Okay.
Oh,
Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say yay again because of another life ruined by Aegon the Unworthy.
Yeah, not really her fault.
Yeah.
Okay, so Beligir Otherus.
Yay, because she's like a badass who's a smuggler, trader, sometimes pirate, captain of the Widow Wind, and like she's just badass.
and a total baller.
And she has a husband and
she just bangs with everyone she comes across. It's amazing.
Yep.
See how Aegon feels about that.
So Lady Barbara Bracken.
Nay.
Nay.
I hate Brackens.
Yeah, essentially. Also, I think as I think about it, it's only because she's a Bracken that I would say nay. So I think that's unfair, really, for me.
So that's a great bit of self-analysis there.
Well,
shoot.
no, but see, the thing is, after she had an affair with Aegon the Unworthy, and then she was eventually sent away, then she started pushing her sister into his path. I mean, her own life had been, so disrupted by it. And then she decided to ruin her sister's life also.
Was it Barbara that did that and not her father?
Yeah, she was the one.
It was both of them together.
Yeah, it was both her and her father.
Yeah.
I just read
Yeah,
it like
she,
it was
like-
just the father that did it.
And by that time, Aegon was like this fat tub of lard, like hedonism bot. Just awful. She's like, here you go.
I am now picturing Aegon as just hedonism bot.
He's just like, I need 3 brackets in a row.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I just realized Aegor technically wasn't her only child she had, because they also mentioned she had a girl named Daenerys.
Right.
I wonder what happened to her.
His only
doesn't
true
say-
born children's.
Oh yeah, that says in her part of it says that it mentions Daenerys' daughter Daenerys, so it wasn't like it wasn't her daughter.
She had twins, and one of them was a stillborn male, and one of them was Daenerys, and that's the one that marries homeboy from Dorne.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so Melissa Blackwood.
Yay.
What's not to like?
I
Yep.
don't know. She's a Blackwood.
Why wouldn't you like that?
It
I'm
does
just
mention
going
that she
by
is
I'm just
far
going by the
less buxom.
same criteria as you not liking the Brackens.
Brackets
I
are
get
filthy
that.
horse breeders.
She's Melissa Blackwood was so nice that even Daenerys liked her, and her son Darren liked her, and everyone liked her, even people who should have hated her. So I'm gonna say yay, because she must have obviously been really nice.
Sure, I was just checking that you weren't being overly nice to her because she was a Blackwood, not a Bracken.
Well, I am, but
Yeah.
the rest of them aren't.
So
It's logical, actually.
yeah, so Lady Bethany Bracken then.
My
Yay.
bleeding heart has already been. I'll go with yay, because she had the balls
yay.
to cheat on him with Sir Terence Toyne, and I'm all for that. So she is one of the only redeemed Brackens in my eyes.
She was all toined up.
Do you think that Missy Blackwood was so nice to everybody because of the feud that had already been started between their houses? She's like, I'll just outdo these bitches.
I also think she might have just been a generally nice woman. But yeah, she
but
could have
it
also been
would-
like, if Barba has already been sent away in shame, if I'm just really nice. And because she's really nice, while Aegor is forced to grow up in Stonehenge, Brynden gets to stick around King's Landing because of how nice his mom was to everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Lady Jane Luston.
I'm going to go with nay, because she might have been his daughter, and that weirds me out a bit.
I'm
Only
gonna
mice.
say yay
Exactly.
because the poor girl, she was 14. She was forced to come. to King's Landing.
True.
Probably forced to come to King's Landing by her mother, and she had to, have sex with this disgusting old man.
And then immediately
Okay.
got the pox afterwards
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
died.
terrible, horrible.
Poor Jane.
Yeah.
Okay, I take it back. I feel sorry for her.
So a lot of bleeding heart yays here in this.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have any real reason to hate her either. So
Oh.
Yeah.
So
He's sad.
she's not a Bracken. So
so lastly, Sir Nee of Lys.
yay.
We don't know anything about her.
No.
Yeah, but I like how she was reputed to be a sorceress. And so, and she was the greatest beauty in the Seven Kingdoms. So
Yeah.
I'm like, okay,
And she bred a hot daughter, so that's also cool.
yeah. And died in it. So,
Way to take one for the team, huh?
Oh, gee.
She got a hand job.
No, she didn't.
Yes, she did.
She
The hand went and got her.
Oh,
Gave her a
okay.
job. She
Job.
is a hand job.
All right.
Sorry.
So other than that, we have Lord Ussifer Plum. A yay or nay for him.
Well, he's the one who married Elena, and then died after seeing her naked. So
Yeah, it was either mid-coitus or seeing her naked. There was two versions of it.
Well,
I think
she
it
had
might
a
be-
kid.
yeah, but it could have been with someone else. But there is no mention of her being with someone else after Alan vanishes. So it could very well. It's either that, or we believe that Brown Plum's brag that Ossifer had a 6-foot-long dick. And
Sounds legit.
Yeah,
sounds legit.
that's why he
Oh,
died, because all the blood rushed to his penis.
Yeah.
But But he must have. I mean, he must have been the one who was the father of Elena's child because
Yeah.
Brown Plum is. He says that he's a descendant of a Targaryen, and Dany's dragons seem to really like him. So
Yeah.
you can assume that's true. So.
All right.
Boom.
Okay, so lastly, Sir Terence Toyne.
Yeah.
But
I think he's all.
King's mistress. I don't know.
I'll say yay just to spite Aegon.
No, I'm gonna
No,
say
dude.
nay. I'm gonna say nay because his him sleeping with Bethany was basically resulted in the death of Aemon the Dragonknight.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
nay.
That's what I was gonna say.
Motherfucker.
Have we talked about Aemon the Dragonknight?
No, we need to talk about him.
Because he's like one of my favorite Targaryens. Him and Nerys.
He's so boring.
Yes.
Oh my.
All right, Aegon. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Aegon, the real good guy here.
Aegon
Real
is
good guy.
such a. I mean, it's not just that he liked to have a lot of sex. I mean, he was a horrible person.
Yeah.
He treated his brother and sister so badly. I mean, his sister, he was obviously affecting her physically. Having children was basically killing her slowly, but he still forced her to do it even after he had a son. And then his brother, I don't know, he had this weird jealous relationship with his brother, and even after his brother died trying to save his life, he still didn't honor him. He was still like making up rumors and stuff about him. So he was just a genuinely shitty person.
Aemon,
Do you
in love with his sister, not being able to do anything. So sad.
Oh, God.
think that because it says that Aegon was the one that found Bethany Bracken and Sir Terence Toyne together in bed and then has them beheaded or has them killed. Do you think that he knew his brothers might try an attempt on his life, or is that why his brothers tried to attempt on his life because they weren't really having an affair, but he wanted to instigate something that would get Aemon killed?
I don't think he could think that far
No.
ahead.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I think he did it. He did something shitty, and Aemon paid the price.
Yep, I agree.
Okay, so other than being captured while he was young and being in love with his sister, what else do we know about Aemon? Oh, yeah, and he defended his brother when he was a dick.
He was a
He was
true
the
knight.
greatest jouster and fighter of his time, swordsman of his time.
But he didn't win anything really. At the same time,
He defeated Daemon Blackfire when he was very young, and Daemon was supposed to be like the best before him.
Yeah, I'm just saying that there isn't very much information. It's just been said that he's the most chivalrous and honorable knight
Well,
like,
that's
ever.
a good thing, right?
But it's just
considering
been said.
Targaryen history, that's a very good thing.
It's hearsay.
He carried Baelor out of Dorne.
Only after Baelor saved his life.
He didn't want his to be saved, though.
Yeah, but
He also
Baelor
he
didn't really
also
save
took
his life. Baelor was like, I'll be back for you later, maybe.
yeah.
No, and
He
then he
also
came
took
back.
an arrow for Daeron the
For
Dragon. He also took a poison arrow that was meant for Daeron the Dragon. So
Yeah, okay, he's a bodyguard. He's a good bodyguard. I'll
well,
give you
yeah,
that.
he's a Kingsguard. That's his job.
Yeah, I guess I give you that. He's a bodyguard. But other than that, why is
He's
he
a
so
great
cool?
guy. Come on.
Why
But
is he
other
so
than
cool?
that, like his whole life, just other than that.
Yeah, other than that he actually does his job. What else?
He loved his sister. He loved his sister.
Yeah, very much so.
No, there's
In a
actually no
Targaryen way.
evidence that there was anything. I mean, Nerys was a very pious woman, and I don't think she was the kind of person to have an affair outside of a marriage.
No, she wasn't. But if she had been allowed to marry Aemon, she would probably have had.
But it says very clearly that she didn't want to marry anyone. She wanted to become a scepter.
Yeah. But
So if she had loved Aemon the Dragonknight, she would have asked to marry him.
Maybe. I don't know.
She was very clear that she wanted to become a scepter.
I don't think she was very, very clear about that. I don't. She was.
No, I think she literally asked her father if she could become a scepter.
Instead of marrying her lecherous brother, yeah, definitely I would become a scepter as well. But that's
Send me to the wall.
yeah, essentially I have the
Yeah.
alternative of marrying Aegon. So yeah, sure, I'll be a septon.
Yeah. In the wiki, she said she would have become a septa, but had her father allowed it.
I'm just saying
Yeah.
that's in the reaction to her other solution, which is less enticing, I would say. But I'm just being Mr. Contrary here, I guess.
Very
Yes,
contrary.